Hello.
There's a tear in my beer, 'cause I'm crying for you, dear. You are on my lonely mind. Into these last few beers, I have shed a million tears. You are on my lonely mind. I'm gonna keep.
Tear in my beer. I'm doing a small series. This will be number 3. This is my one I started them all 4, about kind of the strange story of alcohol, the history of alcohol in this country, and this is why I did them for this story right here. Many of you have probably heard about the Temperance Movement, and it was pre-prohibition, and it was spurred on by women in this country that wanted their men to quit drinking. And so a lot of you know about that. Well, I want to tell you about an anti-alcohol advocate, and her name was Carrie, Carrie Nation, Nation. And it's an incredible story, and it's kind of terrifying. And let's show you a picture of her. Okay, I'm going to get this picture up so you can see it. Let's see. There we go. If you look in her hand, you see an axe. And most likely that's the Bible in her hand. I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure that's probably what it is. So that is Carrie Nation. And she was a Prohibition era hero, superhero, or a booze-hating supervillain, depending on your point of view of how you felt about alcohol. Carrie Nation, was one of the strongest voices in the temperance movement of the late 1800s in our country. Her first husband died soon after they began their life together, and he died as a result of hard drinking. She was left alone to raise their one child, and Nation developed a hatred of alcohol and domestic problems it was causing all around the country. Marriages it was ruining, families that were losing their income and going broke. So she founded the Women's Christian Temperance Union, Women's Christian Temperance Union in 1874, which fought against alcohol before Prohibition. Prohibition, 1919 to when it was signed, started in 1920. And when local saloons ignored the new alcohol bans put into place by the government, she took matters into her own hands with her little axe. Convinced that she's operating on God's commands and God's orders, she traveled the nation. Carrie Nation traveled the nation with a hatchet. And she would go from speakeasy to speakeasy, and she would destroy bottles and fixtures. I don't know if she did tables and chairs, but she got everything she could with her hatchet. And engraved on her hatchet were the words, "Death to rum, death to rum." And she called what she was doing, she says she was conducting, she referred to it as a hatchetization. Hatchetization. That's what she called it. And sometimes she'd travel with a group of women. And when the group of women would go, she would still do the smashing and everything, but the other women would sing hymns while she did it. And somehow that, especially for the men, made that more terrifying, with a bunch of women standing around singing church hymns and Carrie Nation taking her axe and smashing bottles and light fixtures and whatever she could get the axe on. I don't think she ever struck men, but they were probably a little worried about it. And through her alcohol smashing time, she had been arrested over 30 times for her hatchetizations. And eventually she started putting out publishing a newspaper, and she called it the Hatchet. Her newspaper was called the Hatchet. She collapsed on stage doing what she loved, delivering a terrifying lecture on the dangers of alcohol. She passed out and passed away shortly afterwards. So, you men that go in a bar to drink, okay? I say men because she was after them. If you don't believe in ghosts, you might want to. Because if you're ever in a bar and you're ever drinking too much, and suddenly you hear a bunch of women singing hymns, you better run. Because you know what that means? It means Carrie Nation has returned for you.
Drinking until I'm petrified. And then maybe these tears will leave my eyes. There's a tear
Here in my beer.
'cause
See ya.
I'm crying.